You're listening to a Prairie Punk House Companion right here on the Prairie Punk Press Network. The views expressed by any host or any guest on the Prairie Punk House Companion are the personal views or opinions of the people who express them and do not reflect the views or opinions of anyone else on the show or any company, employer, or any other organization that the individual expressing them has or will affiliate with in the past, present, or future. Hi everybody, listen to Prairie Punk House Companion. We are now on episode 40. There's 40 episodes we've made. So if you're not subscribed yet, then you're way past due. So like and subscribe. Make sure you go to our website, www.prairiepunkpress.com. I'm going to go ahead and plug that again at the end. But go, give us the traffic, write reviews, even if they're bad. Give us the engagement. Sweet. My name is Neckbone.
Hi, I'm Jerbear, and I got a new flag finally and hung it up. Huzzah!
Awesome. I like that your background's way more planned than mine is.
Barely.
Yeah. In fact,
This is my wife's office, and I will probably have to take the flag down after we're done recording.
we have a guest tonight, and even his background is more well planned than mine. We have on the show Ryan Love, and
Yes, sir.
Ryan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Ryan Love, and I make Instagram reels about my life, about my early life as a punk rocker, a little street urchin, and people really connect with what I'm doing. And I'm starting a podcast soon called the Punk Rock Trash Podcast, and I'm happy to be here.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you showed up in my algorithm, and I was watching some of your reels in bed, and my 9-year-old was next to me, and she heard one of the stories about Josh, um, and living on the streets, and she's like, "That sounds like you." And I was like, it does. I wonder if we could get him to come be a guest. And I talked to Neckbone about it, and he was like, yeah, you should ask him. And I did, and you agreed, and that's really great. So thanks for being here. Thanks for coming on. And
Mhm.
um,
You are our first interview who is not actually tied to the Midwest. You're from Los Angeles originally.
Yeah, so I grew up in Los Angeles County, the border of LA County and Orange County. So when I grew up going to shows, I would go to shows in like Hollywood or Huntington Beach or San Diego. Like we're just kind of right there in the middle of Southern California. And I didn't realize how fortunate I was until I moved away as an adult, and I would tell people stories about my life. And they would look at me like I was like a compulsive liar or something, I'm like, oh, I was at the whiskey, when I was 15, and we were, like whatever. And I realized like how fucking good I had it. But like there was also like a childhood full of like, like fucked up shit happened too, but I'm grateful for all of it. Like I celebrate, like the life that I've lived, and I lean into it, so uh there's no like it's not like, oh, I have so much trauma, and I'm fucking I'm happy with I'm happy with my life and where I'm at.
That's awesome. But you left LA a while ago, is that right?
Yeah, so I left Los Angeles in 2013. Um, and so my ex-wife and I were divorcing, and so she moved our kids here. And so I came here to be with the kids. And so I've been raising children in Arkansas since 2013. And we're in 2025, and the kids are getting older, and it's looking like I might be moving back home pretty soon.
oh, wow.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, is that something that you had planned on doing originally, or Is it just circumstances?
Yeah, no, so it was always something that I had planned on doing. I think it was always temporary that I was going to be here. Um, you know, culturally it's very different. Um, I'm not gonna lie.
It's
And
kind of it. There are parts of Arkansas that I know it's not the Midwest, it's the South, but there's a lot of Arkansas that does remind me a lot of parts of Kansas. Just weird cultures, and just kind of you end up in the middle of nowhere. You end up in between population centers, and it's not always the friendliest place to stop when you look like a punk rocker.
yeah, so it's not just that, I blend in pretty well if you see, but um it's I don't have that shorthand with people, right? Like so the way that if you grew up riding four wheelers, like you can kind of you, you can have like a shorthand conversation, right?
Mhm.
You can get into it real easy, and I just don't have that with folks here. And I think that I think a lot of it has to do with the experiences that I had and the kind of life that I lived before coming here, and it- it's just it's I haven't I haven't really gotten into this on a podcast before, but I stopped being my authentic self when I moved to Arkansas, right?
Hmm.
And I don't mean like I started dressing different or anything like that. What I mean is I started like closing my mouth about things.
Mm.
And because I realized like just to get along, just to like not make trouble, just to be an adult, like I couldn't I, there were I couldn't be myself. I'm a pretty
Hmm.
like brash person, and people are pretty like mild mannered here, and I just was almost like hiding who I am, and it was kind of making me sick a little bit, and last summer or last winter rather, I ended up having an experience where um, I I had a manic low, but I didn't know that that's what it was. And I was 41 years old, and I was faced with the idea that I was um, had a mental illness, and it really threw me for a loop, but it clarified a lot of things for me too. I've gone through life feeling like guilty about who I am, feeling like I should like repress who I am, or whatever, right?
Hmm.
And when I found out like there was a mental illness, and like I'm not, I am who I am. I stopped wanting to like make excuses for myself,
Hmm.
and I actually kind of like leaned into it. I'm like, all right, well, I'm pretty fucking likable, So I just started being myself in public, and I had been online and made content on TikTok for a few years, but it was never personal stuff. It was all like stuff about like politics and pop culture stuff, and I would almost like hide who I was. I had this facade, like this kind of like "don't fuck with me" facade, and people kind of bought it, and they didn't fuck with me, right? And uh, it would become too much pressure. I wasn't like using the internet to like make money, but I was having like viral videos, like viral video after viral video, and I couldn't take the criticism, and I would get like it was because I was in a manic low and I didn't recognize it. And then I would get offline for like a year and like close the account down. I had like 35,000 followers in 3 months, and then close the fucking thing down, and then do the same thing, and I'd always come back with like different content, and it would work. And I always thought like um and when I was down, it was almost like it wasn't real what had just happened, if that makes sense. Like I didn't understand how I could even be capable of doing such a thing because I would be so low. I couldn't think positive of myself in any sort of way. It was almost like um, inconceivable that I was capable of that. And but when I was faced with the idea that I was a manic depressive essentially, I I decided to not hide who I am on the internet anymore, and I started talking about myself. And I started talking about you know my life growing up and people connected with it. I talked about homelessness. I talk about, just humiliation, like the humiliation of living on the street. It's fucking it's horrible, you
Hmm.
know. And when you have experiences like that, you lose friends, and there's trauma from living on the street. And it was something that I've hidden for a long time. I don't talk about these experiences. I live in a middle class Arkansas neighborhood near Walmart corporate headquarters, right?
Fuck yeah.
So so like I've learned to keep my fucking mouth shut. And I've just gotten to a place where, it made me sick. And um I felt like the things that were, my experiences are the things that have made me. And at some point I had to start, kind of being proud of who I am, and just talking about who I am is it's really opened a lot of doors for me. I'm starting a podcast. um I am going to be talking to artists that uh that are kind enough to talk to me because they like my content, they like what I'm doing. And I'm doing stand-up comedy now. And it's just you know I think that what the trajectory I'm on right now is something that I couldn't have like foreseen it or planned it. It's just something that happened by being myself.
I've only been good at one thing, and that's being myself my whole life. There have been times where I try to fit in and I'm fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Um, even I don't know if you call it code switching, but and at a job surrounded by conservative people,
Hmm.
trying to temper
I'm not even
my
capable
more
of it. I'm not even
yeah,
fucking
it's
capable of
it's
it.
really hard
Yeah.
and it feels
Hmm.
really unnatural. So I
Yeah.
definitely get what you're saying. I'm glad that that you're comfortable enough to be yourself online now.
Hmm.
I really relate to what you're saying. I wouldn't say that I lived on the streets. I was homeless for a time in Lawrence, but I was couch surfing and had lots of support, so it wasn't like I was literally out on the streets. How long were you homeless?
So it was off and on. So it started when I was 14 years old, and I would sort of bounce around. I could be under a bridge for 6 weeks. I could be on a friend's couch for a little bit. My friend Josh, his mom had married a guy who was a tweaker, and he had like these tweaker brothers too. And so I went and stayed there for a little bit, and they were like hoarders. Like there was like stuff in like every room, like bicycles stacked up to the ceiling and stuff. um it was wild. So like something like the first Ninja Turtles movie or whatever, where they have all like the stolen shit. No.
Hmm.
But so uh I would stay there for a time. I got a rich girlfriend at some point. Her name was Katie. And she I don't know why she liked me. But so her her grandpa had owned a famous chain of donut shops in Hollywood called California Donuts. And her grandpa was like Tom Cruise's homeopathic doctor or some
Oh
shit. He like
wow,
lived in the
that's
Hollywood
fucking
Hills.
wild.
Yeah, yeah. And she had like so she had this stepdad that owned a hotel in where I lived. So I was like like living in a hotel for a couple of years as a teenager too. And so we would party at this hotel, and we were just like completely unsupervised at this hotel. And it was like Peter Pan or something, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's
so I watched the podcast you sent me. Um, I don't remember. I'm not familiar with the band, the Joneses.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not familiar with them, but one of the things that you talked about, and I mean, it's kind of a blight on every '90s punk rock kid, but the way a lot of us found out about punk rock was through Green Day or
the
an
Offspring.
Epitaph
Yeah.
sampler or The Offspring or
Yeah.
if you're really cool, maybe Rancid or something like that.
Mhm.
How did was that your experience? Is that your entry point into punk rock, or how did you
It
get into
wasn't.
the scene?
No. I was being generous with that statement because it's generally true, but it wasn't my experience.
Hmm.
My brother brought home a bunch of different stuff. You know, he brought
Uh-huh.
home like a whole bunch of Ramones tapes and like Suicidal Tendencies, Minor Threat, just different stuff.
Yeah.
And so the Germs, he was like a huge Germs fan, and so I got into that. I got into that stuff. I particularly liked all the stuff in LA because a lot of those bands were like getting back together and stuff like
Hmm.
that. But my brother was a couple years older, so it was like his generation that heard Green Day and heard
Hmm.
The Offspring and then got into the other stuff. And I
Hmm.
watched that happen. You know, like I remember there was a kid down the street who like got super into Green Day and then The Offspring, and then he got like his little blue haircut or whatever, and then all of a sudden he hated that shit and he like loved TSOL and fucking and like I watched it like
Uh-huh.
I was like 10, you know, and and then so like I was able to get in like kind of more straight into that stuff, but like you know like Green Day and The Offspring were around like when I was
Hmm.
10 years old. I remember those songs. I liked those songs, but it wasn't
Hmm.
like I wasn't into music in that way until I
Hmm.
was like 12, you know, like
Okay.
puberty hit and it was like
Hmm.
fucking it was on.
Hmm. Nice.
So, yeah.
Um, so your brother kind of got you into punk rock. Was there what was there a big scene there? What was was it just a handful of kids? I don't know. I'm not super familiar with LA. I know there's lots of neighborhoods or whatever with different groups in
Yeah.
them and things like that. So like how big was the scene you got into and what was it like?
Well, I
It's
remember you
weird.
you saying too in the other interview I heard you say that a lot of the older punks were doing a lot of gatekeeping.
Mm,
Like,
Oh, yeah, but it wasn't even just like it was just like acting shitty, like just being super shitty. Like, all right. So, um in Southern California, there was this thing where they would yell, like if you were like a punk rocker in like the early '80s, they would yell "Devo" at you, right? Or like "Whip It" or whatever. And and like most punk rockers, I don't even think liked Devo, you know,
mm,
but it
mhm.
was like they're like, "Hey, Devo," and then like you know you get your ass kicked. Somebody like hop out of a truck and
mm,
whoop your ass. And in the mid '90s, it was like people were still like hopping out and like kicking our asses and stuff. It was still happening, but
mm,
um there was this other phenomenon that was happening of like the older uh like punk rocker who like that happened to him when he was a kid, so like he's gonna like do it to you now, like so
mm,
he's like you see like this guy would like hop out of his car and he would explain to you almost like, yeah, see, when I was a kid somebody would like hop out of the car and whoop our ass, and like he'd give us a whole fucking, it happened more than once too, you know, and like we knew
mm.
it was coming, so we just fucking run away or something. It'd be like some guy in like a Shattered Faith t-shirt or something. We're like, yeah, well, we're okay. We're constantly getting our asses kicked by grown men for just walking down the street.
Yeah.
That was it was like cholos, like everything, everybody was just whooping our asses all the time.
That's
We
see
had
that's something that we didn't I don't think we expected from the coast because in Wichita it was all rednecks
mhm.
and well and like
Rednecks and
boneheads.
Nazis. Yeah.
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 Who would just like, I mean, they see you walk in and, it was a small scene. It's Wichita, Kansas. It's not a very big punk scene. So you
Yeah.
incorporate anyone you can. And I've told this story before. It's like you see somebody in a Sonic Youth t-shirt at the mall and you're like, you don't listen to country. You're my best fucking friend. Like,
Yeah.
and then you try
Yeah.
you try to introduce them to because you're like, well, okay, you're into Sonic Youth, so I can work with that. Like, and you're trying to like almost recruit people.
Hmm.
Like, hey, have you
Oh
heard,
yeah.
like
I was
this
like that
band?
when I was a kid though too. Like I had a
Yeah.
kid,
Hmm.
like a friend that lived down the street and he was like super into goth. And
Hmm.
so like I was like, all right, like good enough,
Right.
And so I hung out with him. He wore a dress and he got more girls than anybody I ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Nice.
He was always surrounded by girls. Like we'd
Mhm.
go somewhere and be like a car full of girls and him. I'd barely be in the car.
All right, so I'm kind of a crusty punk. That was the flavor of punk rock that I enjoyed the most. Nick was more like skate punk type
Mhm.
stuff.
I was a
What?
skate punk who didn't skate, so
Right, yeah, yeah.
the ultimate poser.
What is your preferred flavor of punk rock?
Okay, I like there's stuff from like every little subgenre that I like because I,
Hmm.
I kind of like all consider it like all like the same music, you know what I mean? And there's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
been like trends at different times,
sure.
but like I like late 70s stuff for the most part.
Hmm.
And yeah, like a lot of late 70s stuff. I like a lot of like early Oi. I like Southern California late 70s stuff,
Hmm.
even particularly early 80s Southern California stuff. I'm really into like, like the Screamers and the Dickies and
Hmm.
um the Germs and stuff like the Bags. Even like some of the later stuff like I like Christian Death
Hmm.
and like all the Frontier Records and
Hmm.
Posh Boy and that's my main thing. But I like a lot of like like British stuff too, and
Hmm.
I listened to a lot of like pre-punk, like Eddie and the Hot Rods type
Hmm.
type stuff, and
Is that
yeah,
pub rock?
like pub rock. Yeah, I listen to a
Yeah.
lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
I think that's
My
where Jer Bear and I had a lot of crossovers. We did both like the British anarcho punk scene. It was kind of yeah.
yeah, Chumbawamba's
yeah.
my favorite punk band.
I
Hmm.
like Chumbawamba. They're fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Their first record, first and second record really are like top tier for me, like political and also like interesting,
Hmm.
not
Yeah.
just banging on shit and screaming. Not that there's anything wrong with banging on
No,
shit and
yeah.
screaming.
Yeah.
They
And
experiment. They
Yeah,
experiment.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
for
And I
sure.
used to make fun of you a lot because when we were in our early 20s, I don't think I realized that they used to be a punk band, and I was just like, anytime you're like, we should listen to Chumbawamba, I was like, just scream tub thumping at you. Sorry about that. I
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah, that's
This
fine.
is this is before you could Google stuff, so I
Yeah.
didn't. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
It was either that or ass rash.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Jesus, yeah.
I was
I
listening.
I remember Ass Rash. I
Hmm.
I
remember,
uh I revisited them not too long ago, and man, their drummer fucking sucks, man. He's fucking terrible. I love it still, but fuck,
oh
he's
no,
terrible.
the
Uh,
drummer from Ass Rash sucks.
Are you
I
implying
mean,
that punk bands don't have the absolute best musicians every
listen,
time?
it's charming, all right?
Right.
I
Isn't
was
that
just
kind of why we
surprised.
like
I
it?
was like,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and revisiting it and hearing how bad the drummer was made sense why the Fannings didn't like it. We have two friends that are twin brothers, and they're the type of assholes that can pick up an instrument and just play it. They can hear a song and just play it, really frustrating for those of us that can't do that. And they liked Ass Rash for a little bit, but then they're like, "Oh, this fucking sucks. I can't listen to this anymore." And now I'm like, "Oh, I get it. It's probably listening to the drums and the shitty musicianship drove you bonkers." Johnny says he sees one of them up in Minneapolis pushing his kids on the swings at some park. That's
Oh yeah.
cute.
the guy from Ass Rash. There's
Mhm.
the guy from Ass Rash pushing his son on the swing. There's the
Brilliant.
bass
I
player
love
from Ass Rash.
I love punk rockers so much.
I mean, that's the thing. So many of us are just parents now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just old and weird. Were you ever in any bands, or were you just an enjoyer of?
I was
music.
in a band for I was in two bands for like 2 weeks each.
Nice.
So my friend was teaching me how to play guitar to be in his band, and then it just ended up happening without me. And then there was another there was another band I started, and we had a show booked, but our singer got grounded, and we had a show booked with the band Pink and Brown, and we were called the Kill People. And I played keyboard and sang, and then this
Nice.
kid Elijah played guitar, and he was in like there's a magazine in Orange County called the OC Weekly, and they every October they do like this 31 scariest people in Orange County, and he was 14 years old, and he was like one of the scariest people that year in Orange County. And the reason was because he broke into the writer's apartment when the writer was like on vacation, and like ate all his food, and just like lived in his house. So he like ended up in this he ended up on this list with like serial killers and like Dwayne Peters.
Oh
He was
God.
like a 14-year-old kid.
Man, Dwayne Peters is really off his rocker these days.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
So
Uh yeah.
So what do you think? I mean, let's talk about the videos. Like describe the videos.
I mean, I haven't watched any in a while, but he's uh super into Trump and like weird MAGA shit. It's
Yeah,
wild to me.
he's also selling T-shirts for like $200 a piece too.
Oh, you're kidding
Like,
me.
yeah, you can buy a U.S. Bombs T-shirt for $200 if you want. It's really
Wow.
great. Yeah,
What do
every
the
day
proceeds
he's
go to?
him, Dwayne.
Okay, cool.
The proceeds go to Dwayne. Yeah, he's got original U.S. Bombs T-shirts. You
Oh
can
wow.
They don't even make it
Wow.
like this. This is from 1998, and he like everything's two
That's
hundred
a good
dollars.
impression. That's a really good impression.
Jesus.
I feel a little bad poking too much fun at him because a lot of it's probably from traumatic brain injuries from
Oh,
falling on his head, but
Yeah.
most definitely.
So
um
yeah,
wow.
but he, like I really like that. He was always mean to kids though too. Like
Uh-huh.
it shows. Like he was a
Oh, really?
fucking dick. Yeah, he was always
Yeah.
a dick.
We
He was.
I feel like didn't we saw them? Did we see them in Kansas City?
I didn't see US bombs. No.
Maybe it was just me. Maybe I went.
Maybe you went after I'd left.
Maybe
Um
I feel
I
like I went with BJ or somebody. I think I don't
oh
know.
yeah, it could be. I
Yeah.
accidentally had dinner with Keith Morris one time. And he is just a grouchy old man, but
Yeah.
not like he wasn't like an asshole. He was just like a grumpy old man who doesn't
Hmm.
give a shit anymore.
I mean, yeah, he's got to be. Well, he's in his 50s, right? 60.
He's probably in his
I shouldn't be
60s.
talking shit
Yeah,
about Dwayne Peters. I feel bad.
No, no,
I
no,
feel
no.
bad. I
No.
do.
it's okay. He
I,
doesn't listen
you
to this
know,
podcast.
Yeah, he doesn't listen to
No,
our
no, no,
podcast.
no, no,
He'll be
no, no. I
fine.
don't care if he fucking hears that. That's not what I fucking care about. That is not what I fucking care about. He kiss my fucking ass now. It's it's the idea that he's obviously not in a good place,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
Yeah.
and he um he's in a really bad place, and I think for me to like be like kicking at him or whatever is probably fucking kind of shitty. So
Yeah. Hmm.
Eh.
I mean,
Well,
there's a yeah, a lot of people who have gone down the MAGA like rabbit hole
oh
who
yeah,
are
that
just
part of it, fuck him. That part
yeah,
of it,
yeah.
right,
fuck,
right.
Yeah.
yeah,
But also like a lot of those people, especially a lot of those people who used to be, part of whatever counterculture movement they were a part of, who are now totally MAGA. I mean, they have mental health issues. That it's all like a lot of it's mental health issues and just yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. So yeah,
Um,
I get what you're saying. Like, and I do feel kind of bad, like making fun of them, but they also are supporting
yeah.
really harmful
That
stuff.
that part of him, fuck him. I don't. I
yeah.
it's the like I don't like making fun of somebody because they're in a bad way because they're on fucking drugs, right?
Right.
There's a
Yeah.
difference between that and like the way that I was fucking poking at him and like just saying he's a fucking mega creep, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like that's just something that's true. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and
so
the thing about that is like I know lots of people with mental health issues, myself included, and I'm not a fucking conservative shithead. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's
that's right.
not, you can't use that as an excuse
Right.
for that
Yeah.
kind of shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm not. I'm
You
not.
can,
That's
have you seen the other F word by chance, the movie about punk rock
Oh,
dads?
yeah, when it first came out, maybe. I don't really remember it too
Yeah.
well.
Mhm.
Dwayne Peters was in that. It was in that, and he seemed like a sweetheart at that point. Kind of, talking about his kid and getting misty and stuff, and he had a rough childhood, like so many of us did, and at least during the filming of that, was talking about how he wanted to be a better dad than what he had. So, just on the flip side of that, it seemed like at least at one point he cared about
Mhm.
being a good dad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, there was a point there where he was when he was really successful, where I think he was actually sober for a little bit,
Mm,
or he was having like little stints of sobriety. Like
yeah.
when I could be wrong, but I think that's what was going on because the lady he married, Corey Parks, who was in Nashville Pussy,
Hmm.
she ended up getting sober, and
Hmm.
I know that I don't. So yeah, he was successful because he was sober. Fuck it, leave it in. I don't
Yeah.
care. You know,
Yeah.
he was, and that's what I think was happening. I think he was having
Hmm.
stints of sobriety, and that's why he had like three fucking bands. He
Hmm.
was like skating again. Like, you remember like 2007, like right
Yeah.
in that
Hmm.
area,
Hmm.
whenever that was, and
Yeah.
like the U.S. Bombs and Die Huns and Dwayne Peters gunfight and
Yeah.
all kinds of shit going on.
And he's an LA guy too, right?
Yeah, I don't know exactly where in Southern California he grew up, but he had a band before, like when he was real young, called Political Crap, and he was famous for being, a dickhead to Tony Hawk when Tony Hawk was a little kid,
Yeah.
and Tony Hawk was a big, like Dwayne Peters, I think was like his guy, kind of
Uh-huh.
a thing, and he like walked up to him and I don't know what he said, but he was like "fuck you, kid," or he, like spit on him or something. It was really bad,
Yeah.
whatever
That
it was.
sucks. Yeah.
And like Tony Hawk, like when he talks about it to this day, his like voice shakes, like
Hmm.
Hmm.
I there was like an interview, so it was like,
Yeah.
Another
yeah.
thing that kind of surprised me was um I forget his name, the singer of TSOL.
Oh,
Uh
yeah.
I forget his name, but he was just like, nah, I never cared about any of this shit. I just did it for pussy. Um and so
Him.
I can't tell if he's trolling now or was trolling then or is just a shithead in general. I don't really know. But I was kind of surprised by that and a little let down.
Is that
I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna tell the story, okay?
all right.
All right.
So he's like, I mean, he's never like hidden from the idea that he's a shithead, right?
Hmm.
He tells you who he is, like at
Hmm.
every fucking turn. I don't care, like I don't care. I can break his fucking anonymity. He's a circuit speaker in Alcoholics Anonymous in Southern
Okay.
California, right? I was super into I was go to AA meetings in my early 20s, like early mid 20s, and I saw Jack Grisham speak many times as a as a speaker. And Jack Grisham would like get up there and go like, "I'd like to thank myself for being here tonight," and like, like, and he's supposed to be like, speaking to like give us his experience, strength, and hope so that we can stay sober. I'm wearing a Motorhead shirt. I have a shaved head. I'm sitting there in the fucking chair, and and there's like not a lot of the people are kind of like scattered out, and he's speaking. He's wearing a fucking suit because he's always wearing a suit, and he goes, when I was drinking, I was a Dean Martin drunk, and I drank with like high class people, right? I wouldn't drink with a guy like you. Yeah, yeah. And I'm like looking at him like, you fucking kidding me? He goes, yeah, yeah, I wouldn't drink with you. I was more like a Dean Martin drunk. I drank with like classy people. I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? I was like, where's this coming from? Right? Like it was like an intentional thing to like injure me or something. It was weird. I was like, what the fuck? It's a weird dude. You know what I mean? And my friend walked up to me. I was like, what the fuck was that about? Did he know you? I was like, I don't think so. Uh, but yeah, like, and he has a I I've read a lot about cults, and he
Hmm.
has that fucking energy, right? Like
Hmm.
cult leader energy. And um like okay, like when he would speak in an AA meeting, he would like show up with like two women on one side of him, and then there'd be like two other women that were like in our home group, like in our group, and they would be like on the other side of him, like, and they all okay, this happened one time where he had fucking two women on each side of him, and they were all wearing black, like matching his suit. And the thing that made it like weirder was like he goes to like meetings like a couple of cities away, and like two of the ladies were like from our home group. You know what I mean? They're like color coordinated to fucking jack while they're sitting there and like super dressed up. It was just like amazing. He was uh he has like a cult leader vibe.
Mm.
That's the only way to put it. I don't mean that like
Huh.
in a necessarily like bad way.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's people with like tons of charisma,
Hmm.
and like they kind of can't help it.
Hmm.
And he's one of those people.
Huh.
I can and there's some like yeah, there's some like I'm not gonna say there's things wrong with him, but read his book.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And yeah, just I mean, read his fucking book.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Huh.
Oh yeah,
It sounds interesting. So yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's not he doesn't like hide the kind of okay. When you see have you seen TSOL play?
I haven't seen
Not
him live.
live.
No. Mm-mm.
No. I
It's
mean, I've
it's
seen videos
like
of them live, but
Mhm.
you hear these stories from the
mm.
80s where they talk about how he would start riots, right?
Hmm.
My experience seeing them play is like the way he works the stage is like he could start a riot at any fucking time, and it's almost like he's just holding back the whole time.
Hmm.
Like
Mm.
what he's just pacing the stage, just fucking playing with people, playing with the crowd, and it's like his natural state is to want to be able to like provoke the audience into a fucking
Hmm.
riot, and he's just constantly holding back. That's the way that he comes off.
Huh. Speaking of shows, what's one of your favorite shows that you've been to?
Guitar Wolf.
Guitar.
Uh,
I'm not familiar with them.
they're a Japanese punk rock band. I saw them in 2004, uh, and uh, it was an amazing night. There were like substances involved,
Of
and
course.
Guitar Wolf were really loud, and like there were people there that just had never even heard them that were just completely fucking obsessed with them like during the show.
Hmm.
And they're an amazing band. Uh, there's they're just amazing. And live they were the best band I've ever seen. Very like garage
Nice.
rock, like
Uh-huh.
punk rock band. Very into the Ramones.
Hmm.
But a lot crunchier, than that, a lot
Hmm.
garagier, but just a fun,
Nice.
fun group. Yeah.
They've
What
been
about you
around
guys?
since 1987. It looks like so. We're way
Yeah.
behind. I didn't realize. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. They've been around for a long time.
Yeah. The bass player died like shortly after I saw them, like the original
Oh
bass
shit.
player, rather.
Mm.
He was he had a heart attack, but yeah, he had a heart
Mm.
attack after that.
It's
Mm.
too bad.
But
So how did you sneak into Disneyland?
so
Secret there, and is it still possible?
yeah, so I don't
Wife
that's
wants
why
to
like I
know.
don't really want to like tell it too much, but I don't think it's possible anymore. So they used to have it was called a hand transfer. The way we would do it is you could do it with different things, but we would get a photograph and we would wet the photograph and put it on the hand transfer.
Hmm.
or I'm sorry, put it on their stamp on their hand. It
Oh
was
yeah,
like a
yeah.
stamp that would be with like a blue. I'm sorry, like
Black light stamp.
a black light, yeah. And so we would like you'd pick it up and then you'd transfer it over to yours,
Oh,
and
okay.
then we'd all be able to get on the tram in the back, and we would smudge it, and they would be like, "Why is it smudged and backwards?" I'm like, "We were swimming in the pool across the street, you know," and
The average Disneyland employee making minimum wage isn't probably going to look at it that hard.
Yeah, right.
They're probably just going
yeah,
to be
but
like,
sometimes
"Cool,
they
looks good to me."
would.
Yeah.
Sometimes they would. I mean, because it was like always the little punk rockers that had the smudges on their hands. The army of punk rockers with smudges are coming back in. Like it was
We
like I think it was pretty widespread.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We my family went in 2022 and
Mhm.
I don't know, I don't think you've ever been, Neckbone, have you? To Disneyland or World?
I went to Disney World in 1989.
Okay. Dude,
So,
there were so many punk rockers there. I could not believe it.
mhm.
I saw like three Dystopia shirts one day, and yeah, there's just a ton of punk rock kids going to Disneyland.
Yeah,
It
there
was,
were in '89
yeah.
too. I didn't know what they were at the time.
Uh-huh.
I remember seeing like, yeah, like what I would describe now as like punk rock kids, and my parents trying to like usher me away from them.
Well, they are scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
So Disneyland has had a changing policy about that too. So like in the early days, there's like books that have documented it where they talk about how you couldn't get into Disneyland if you like looked like a punk rocker at all, right? You had to like not have pins on, couldn't have
Oh
safety
yeah.
pins on. You have to like comb your hair. Like you just couldn't look like a punk rocker and get
Hmm.
into Disneyland. There's a famous story I think about like Teen Idols or Minor Threat trying to get in and they
Hmm.
couldn't and they were turned away. And there's all these famous stories. Like they're living in Southern California, you'd always hear about how everybody got turned away because they looked
Hmm.
like a generation before. And then by our generation, we were all sneaking in and like hanging out in packs. So like the
Hmm.
thing that they were afraid of is like the thing that happened, like
Right. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we're just like standing there in groups, fucking, sneaking booze into Disneyland.
It's
Did
become
you
a
charge for
self-fulfilling
pictures?
prophecy.
Yeah, so I was not a person I think that people were trying to get pictures with, and I think I was
Mhm.
an asshole.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
was not a person that like I would see my friends going and getting pictures and stuff, and I would just kind of sit there with a face, like I wasn't
Hmm.
smart like that. I was a panhandler,
Yeah. Yeah.
like like I didn't even care to like do anything with my. I tried for a minute. I was like, I'm gonna have a bihawk because everybody else has a mohawk or a trihawk, so I'm gonna do something
Hmm.
different. And then my whole thing was like, I'm not even gonna put it up. I'm just gonna let it hang down like fucking dog ears, and like look like John Candy from fucking
Yeah. Yeah.
Spaceballs.
Hmm.
And and I did that for a little bit, and then I was like, I don't like this shit. I just want to have a fucking haircut. And so
Yeah.
like I would just like either shave my head or like or whatever. But I've never like been into like having a bunch of different like fucking yeah, that's not true. I would dye my hair different colors and stuff
Mhm.
like that when I was a kid,
Hmm.
but you know.
Yeah, I had a big silly mohawk and panhandled and um
Hmm.
I never charged for pictures or anything like that, but some of the squatters who traveled through town,
Yeah.
they would go to the mall and try and charge people for pictures and stuff.
It
Yeah.
was a lot of time like Japanese tourists would pay for
Oh yeah.
pictures with punk rockers. That
Hmm.
was like at Disneyland, that was like the main group.
Hmm. We didn't really get
Australia,
tourists in Wichita, so
No.
none that I'm aware of.
No,
nobody going to see the planes.
No, I guess not. No.
the best time to panhandle was during the Riverfest, so
Yeah. Oh
you
Yeah.
make
yeah.
like 50 bucks a night.
Mm-hmm.
We would just like come up with crazy fucking lies while we were like, we call it spanging. You guys call it
Yeah, yeah.
spanging?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, it did just depend on who I was hanging out with. It was panhandling if I was hanging out with the fucking winos, but it was
Hmm.
spanging if I was hanging out with the spanging kind of annoyed me actually because I, I was hanging out with winos before I was hanging out with fucking punk rockers, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it was just because like probably because I was a weird fucking bipolar kid, and like I was like, fuck, I don't want to be at home, and so I'd go. get my booze, and then I'd strike up a conversation with the wino who went into the store to get my booze, and then next thing I know, I'm drinking the beer with them, and then the next day I'm panhandling in the parking lot, and we're handling together, and
Mm-hmm.
like drinking booze in the parking lot. So like I was drinking with winos when I was like 14 years old and stuff. And so that's kind of how I knew that I could run away, was because
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I know how to get money now,
Mm-hmm.
right? I can get my own booze, I can get my own smokes and food. And
Yeah.
I mostly just like, stole my food, but because I got my money for, for my
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
For
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, I loved it. We would just come up with like crazy lies and stuff, and it was just like oh, we have to get home to San Diego, or I live in Las Vegas, or how much does it cost? It costs $85.
Yeah.
Do you, have you seen the movie Kids?
Not since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's the scene where the guy with no legs is on the bus panhandling with the cop, singing a little
Oh
song, I
yeah,
have no legs. I would do that. Walking around,
yeah.
like I would walk around and say, I have no legs and shake my cup of change. And people would still give me money, even though it was just like blatantly not true. But
And when you were doing it with people, so that was the fun part, is like it wasn't like humiliating because you were making it fun, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And
Mhm.
and you're like making jokes and everything else, and just trying to, make it a game. And
Help me buy beer. That was
yeah,
that was a good one too.
Hmm.
yeah.
I don't
We got
need
to get
food, I
somebody
need
coming out of the
beer.
bar though for that. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
We had a bar next to a liquor store, and we would go out there and they'd be like, "Oh, I used to do this too when I was a kid," and then they'd go get us.
So when are you getting your podcast started, do
So
you think?
within the next month,
Yeah.
I have my first three or four guests lined up, but I have delusions of grandeur, so I have to I have to go home and do some stuff that's really big, um,
Mhm.
to start it. And I'm gonna be making some content with uh, uh, LA punk rocker and interviewing him, and um, that should be fun. So that's going to be some of my early podcasts, but it's called the Punk Rock Trash Podcast, and it's mainly going to be interviews with artists. And so it should be out. I'm going to record about 15 of them before I even start releasing them,
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
and that way I have something, and I can like plan more content. Because
Mhm.
when I used to make content, the thing that I did is I was very precious with it. I make content all the time now, but I would just wait until I could like craft this like big video kind of a thing,
Mhm.
and then I would just put that out there. And so I really like um being able to do that and really put time and creativity into things. So I
Mhm.
really want to plan everything that I do, and then make a bunch of content, and then be able to kind of do it all over again, rather than just
Mhm.
do interviews all the time. So it's going to be different than other it's not going to be. I'm going to do like I want to do some like travel vlog stuff too.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
So it
Do you
should
do
be
you have
in the fall.
a social media page and stuff yet, or
Yeah, so the
okay.
the best way to follow me right now is just at the real Ryan Love on Instagram. Um,
Okay.
I have a website that's launching shortly for Punk Rock Trash, and the podcast will be out we'll start releasing episodes by the fall. And so just follow me on Instagram at the real Ryan Love, and that's the best way. It's a party.
Sweet. Yeah, we'll put some
Red.
links
Yeah,
in the description.
Nice.
Yeah.
For sure.
cool.
What's your favorite punk rock movie?
Oh, Repo Man.
Oh, that's a good,
Oh,
yeah, that's a good
yeah.
one. Hell
Great
yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
for sure. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
the soundtrack too. What about you
hmm
guys?
Um,
Oof. That's
I don't
tough.
know. We've reviewed Return of the Living Dead,
Hmm.
That's a good
uh,
one.
both
We
Suburbias, the
both
punk rock one,
suburbias.
and the demonstrably not punk rock one,
Uh-huh.
by fucking Richard Linklater.
Yeah.
Where they're
Uh,
hanging out in front of the liquor store the whole movie.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
if
fucking
Clerks
terrible.
were bad.
Yeah,
Yeah. It
right.
was always on Sundance Channel all the time when I was a
Mhm.
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah, we rented it thinking it was the real Suburbia. I was like, holy shit, they got Suburbia here? I was like,
Mhm.
this is, oh no, this doesn't look very punk rock, but we'll get it. And it was fucking
Yeah.
terrible. God damn it.
Yeah.
I was so mad.
I love the acting
Um,
in that movie. I hate buses.
what else? We did that. Have you heard of the Outhouse? This is a
No.
club in Lawrence. There's a documentary about it. Um,
Mhm.
it's only good if you are familiar with the Outhouse, I think. Otherwise,
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
be
They got some pretty
fucking
big
boring as
names in it
shit.
though. That was
Yeah.
surprising. But
Um,
yeah.
a band called Death. Um,
Which was really
we
good.
reviewed
Yeah.
that one. I
Mhm.
used to volunteer for a film fest here, so I knew the director and had him
Mhm.
come on and talk less about the movie and more how he got fucked over and hasn't seen a penny from
Yeah.
that movie.
Right. That
It's
interview went so
fucking
long that we had to
shame.
cut it into 2 episodes.
Yeah. Um,
We did SLC Punk.
Yeah.
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 Um,
We are gonna do Green Room. That's the next one we're
yeah.
gonna do.
I've never seen
Um,
it.
I am still gonna be really upset watching Captain Picard be a Nazi.
Have,
It's gonna crush me, man.
have you seen it?
Not
No,
me.
Nope. I
no?
saw the
Okay.
preview. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. It was good.
Yeah.
There's some suspension of disbelief that I had, but other punk rockers told me that I was dumb, so
Okay.
maybe I shouldn't suspend my
Yeah, you're
disbelief for that part.
probably just
I
being
was being an
dumb.
asshole. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
SLC Punk it's not a bad movie. It's a well-written movie.
Hmm.
It's whoever did the wardrobe is
mhm.
who should be fucking
Oof.
murdered.
The wardrobe and whoever, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against Matthew Lillard. He is
Yeah,
a
Matthew
great
Lillard is a
actor in
delight. Not for
99%
that
of the
role.
things he's in, but he is not believable as a Utah punk rocker. I'm not buying it.
I don't know, dude. People from Utah are pretty fucking dorky. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I was raised Mormon. They're
Yeah.
fucking nerds.
Oh, really?
What are you
I've spent
talking about?
a lot of time in Utah, and yeah, there's some interesting people in Utah, punk rock and non-punk
Yeah,
rock
man.
alike. My
Yeah.
favorite camping spots are in that state. So
Um, but yeah, now that you say Repo Man, that's probably it. It's probably the best punk rock movie.
yeah,
Um,
I think
it's
so.
great. Bomb City
yeah,
is really good, but you got to
yeah,
be in the mood to cry a lot.
yeah. Have you
So
seen Bomb City?
I haven't. I haven't.
mhm.
Are you familiar
Is
with that story at all? It's
I'm
Brian
familiar with the
Dennehy.
story. I'm familiar with the story. He got murdered, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yep. Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
In Amarillo, Texas,
Yeah.
Yeah.
in '97. So
Yep.
Yeah.
that was right at the time when we were going through all our shit here with neo-Nazis
Yeah.
and basically having to watch our backs all the time and try
Hmm.
to protect ourselves from boneheads.
And Amarillo is not totally dissimilar from Wichita. It's a
Yeah. Well, I actually had a Justin and this other punk rock girl that I don't think you know. They used to talk to him on Instant Messenger. I think
mm.
Justin did. I don't know for
Yeah.
sure,
Well, he was
but I know
from
this other
Wichita
chick does.
originally, wasn't he?
No.
Or he lived
So
there.
they moved from the East Coast to El Dorado,
Mm.
and then they moved down to Amarillo.
Okay.
So
Well,
yeah,
Wichita adjacent. Yeah.
yeah, pretty close to here.
Hmm. So
That's a real good movie. I screened that with the film fest also and hit Brian Dennehy's parents were there and I was hosting a Q&A and completely lost my shit and wound up fucking bawling and having to go backstage to compose myself before I asked questions because it fucked me
mhm.
up. My friend had
Yeah.
just died in a car wreck also, and I
Yeah.
hadn't processed that. So
Yeah.
it was an intense moment.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know what's even crazier is when you cry on camera and then like it gets a lot of views and then you
Hmm.
come out of that manic low.
Uh-huh.
You go, what the fuck am I doing crying on camera? What the fuck is I'm just what's wrong with me? Why am I so sad? Like,
Yeah.
why are these people encouraging that? I'm ashamed. I'm just kidding.
Well, you brought up
Did I kind of
something
make that about
interesting.
myself?
You brought up something interesting that I have to touch on a little bit. I also grew up pretty religious. I grew up Roman Catholic, though. Um, so what was it like being a punk rocker and being Mormon?
The two couldn't coexist.
Hmm.
So I kind of like I was conscious of like what the older kids were doing. Like I talk about that, like where I saw like Green Day and the Offspring get big. Like I knew there was always a punk scene in Southern California. You know, I'm not negating that,
Hmm.
but it those two bands really just brought a lot of turned a lot of people into punk rockers.
Hmm.
And I know that the scene was very small in the late 80s from all accounts. Even in Southern California, it wasn't huge. And it got revitalized because of those bands. And then there was a lot more punk rock bands. And I watched kids at church that were like
Hmm.
that. So there was a couple of kids that were like traditional skinheads that were like in our Mormon church or whatever, like their parents made them go.
Hmm.
And I was like, I knew that they existed. And then there was like some older boys and they were kind of getting in trouble. And so like when I got into that music, like the second I got into that music, I just left because I could kind of see that like
Hmm.
they were considered like rebellious and like like in Southern Cal, like everybody was getting into it. I'm not, it was everybody that was around me, like got into punk rock for like a minute, and then like some of us just kind of stayed into it or whatever.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
yeah, so I just left church immediately. I told my mom I don't want to do this anymore, and she kind of told me, you're able to make your own decisions at 12 years old.
Wow.
And yeah, so I really agree with that. And that was something that she did that was really good. Was allow me to make that decision for myself. And so I stopped, and so that's why I never had a really bad taste in my mouth for religion,
Hmm.
because I was allowed to just leave. And I think my mom had a pretty healthy relationship with it too. Like
Hmm.
she'd say, "Oh yeah, they say a lot of things." Like we had to ask her
Right.
questions
Right. Yeah.
about church, and so that's what they say, but
Hmm.
and
Uh,
like so, and she just kind of would do what felt right to her,
Yeah.
and so I didn't, I understand that religion is used to control people, and that it's
Hmm.
a that it, it can really be a problem. But I just I have some religious trauma, but it just doesn't have anything to do with being made to be religious,
mhm.
because I
Hmm.
was never made to be religious. When I was a kid, and when I was a young adult, I actually tried to go back to the Mormon church
Hmm.
because I was, I needed something that was stable. Like that, I thought that because I didn't know I had like a mental illness, right? And I was just
Hmm.
trying to like hold it together. So I'm
Mhm.
like, I just need this community and like these like strict rules, like that'll fix everything, kind of a deal. And um, so I went back as a young adult, and it's really not good for somebody in my situation,
Hmm.
um, religion. But I just don't have I don't have animosity toward it the way that some others do, because I wasn't forced to go.
Hmm.
And I even though it was, it's very patriarchal and stuff, my mom was kind of you know she just kind of taught us, nah, you just do whatever, so it really wasn't like my understanding of religion wasn't even really like patriarchal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it was
The Catholic Church is very into patriarchy. I don't know
Yeah,
if
well,
you guys see
the
that.
Mormon churches too. The Mormon churches
Uh,
too. It was my
Yeah.
mom, she was just like,
right.
whatever.
Hmm. Yeah. I did
Yeah.
not get I did not get to opt out of Catholicism. I was Catholic until I was 18. And I had the same thing where when I was about 21, 22, I started trying to go back to church a little bit. and I'd go to mass sometimes, and I was like, yeah, I think I want to be a Catholic, and that didn't last very long. That was like, yeah, like you. I was just like, yeah, nah. And people still once. I don't know if you get this too, but once you are associated with a religion, because especially people back in Kansas who I grew up with, they remember me as the kid who had to go to mass all the time. And people will be like, "Hey, as a Catholic, do you?" And I'm like, "I'm not a Catholic. I'm not. I used to be. I
Mhm,
grew up Catholic. I'm
mhm.
not a
Yeah.
Catholic." Or people will be like, "How can you believe in something like transubstantiation?" I'm like, "I don't." That's kind of why I left the church. Like,
People
Right.
still think I'm like fucking. I believe that Joseph Smith had like gold
right,
plates and shit.
right,
Like
yeah,
from my. I'm like, have you seen my fucking Instagram, dude? Like,
right.
I'm
Yeah.
not that much of a fucking mark.
I
Well,
remember the
once,
first negative experience I had
hmm
uh, being an atheist. I stopped believing in God in the eighth grade and didn't think there was anything weird or wrong about it. It just I didn't believe in it. And then when I was a senior in high school in our psychology class, they were talking something about religion. I was like, well, I don't believe in God. That doesn't matter to me. And like the whole class erupted with like jeers, and it was fucking wild to me. I'd never experienced anything like that, being told I was going to go to hell and
and you're in a
that I was a
public
bad
school.
person. Yeah, I was in public
Yeah.
school. It's
I went to
fucking
Catholic
wild.
school, so that would have, yeah, definitely got a negative reaction in my
Yeah,
class,
it
but
was
hey,
so weird to me.
yeah,
So bizarre.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's wild. Because, in Catholic school, we were all taught that, all you public school people were all like godless heathens. So
No, not in Kansas.
still Wichita.
Have any experience with the Church of Scientology? Kirstie Alley is from Wichita, and there's a big Scientology church here. I used to walk by it every day, leaving East High to go to my mom's work when I was in summer school. Um, it's wild.
Hmm.
I dated a girl in my a young lady in my early adulthood, 18, 19 years old, and she had a sister that was about to be homeless, and her sister ended up joining the Sea Org. Yeah, I don't know, that was the story that I heard, and uh, she the parents were like, just come live with us or whatever. And Scientology made her to like stop talking to them, and it was a
Hmm.
whole thing. And we were always aware of Scientology. It was always there in Hollywood,
Hmm.
and they were very fucking obviously a cult. Like when I was a little kid, I could tell they were a fucking cult,
Hmm.
and and you could very clearly see like that they were using actors to promote a cult.
Yeah.
And I knew people in my young adulthood who I worked with a girl, actually. She was from Arkansas, and I worked with her out in LA. It's called Culver City. Uh,
Hmm.
they used to have like a lot of film studios there, and she moved out there to be an actress, and she ended up being a stunt woman. But she got involved in Scientology because um, she saw and she actually told me back then that Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith were Scientologists. So I knew this shit fucking like over 20 years ago
Hmm.
that Jada and Will were fucking Scientologists, right? But she saw them at the Celebrity Center, and what the Celebrity Center is, from my understanding, is you get like a lot of people that will move to Southern California and they want to be actors, actresses, and Scientology is like, well, we'll give you these courses. And so what they're doing is they're getting these desperate people to come and give them their money, thinking that they're going to like become good actors and actresses, or that they're going to be like connected to actors and actresses. It's sort of like they almost sold Scientology in the 90s as being like Freemasonry for people that are involved in the arts, right? So
Hmm.
so like you join, and then you're connected to all of these other people, and you might have a easier time getting roles and stuff, but that really wasn't the truth. So they would just get people to speak at the Celebrity Center when you'd have a bunch of like you know uh people that they wanted to just give them their money, kind of a thing.
Hmm.
And so they kind of used celebrities to prey on people. And so I actually protested Scientology. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there were big protests happening about almost 2 years ago, and there was a guy. His name's Film the Police. He's in
Uh-huh.
Los
Mhm.
Angeles, and he became Streets LA for to protest Scientology, and it started because he was filming the police doing his normal thing, and Scientology told him, get the fuck off the street kind of a thing. And he was like, what? Fuck you. You don't own the street.
Mhm.
And they were, said, no, we can get you kicked off. He's like, no, you fucking can't. He said, you keep fucking with me, I'm gonna end your little cult, right? So he like took it personally that they were like helping the police and
Mhm.
like and going after him. So he just started fucking with Scientology, and it was the funniest thing, that was on the internet for a while. And he made the call saying, the more the merrier. He wanted more people out there.
Mhm.
And so I had a little bit of a following, and I'm fucking crazy enough to go out there. And I know enough about Scientologists to know how to play with them.
Mhm.
And so, or Scientology rather. And so I went out there, and what I did is there were crowds of people that were out there by this point. And so I would put my phone like on their phone or whatever to get them the followers that they needed so that they could go live and that
Mhm.
they could watch the Scientology. And so the idea was Scientology was actually recruiting people off the street in Hollywood right there.
Mhm.
And it's their biggest recruitment center in the world. And he actually put their recruitments down to like zero. They weren't able
Nice.
to recruit anybody, and they actually had to close down for a while. But what I did is I went out there for a few days, and I just got people's numbers on their phones up, and I made signs. Like there was a guy Sebastian that was walking around out there, and I said Sebastian is the new Gypsy Rose, and like just like funny signs. I'd pay street artists and things like that. And when I did that, it wasn't like a stupid stunt or anything. Like, he made the call for people to go out there, and um, that's what protest should be. Is there's a need, and it's a very you know directed thing, and there's a goal in mind. And
Mhm.
so I approached it with that in mind, and um, did what I could do to aid, and then I got out. But
Mhm.
it was a very high pressure situation, and like the Scientologists were trying to get people to like beat me up on the streets and stuff, and like just like yelling horrible things, and it
Mhm.
was it was pretty intense.
Yeah, their reputation is they don't fuck around with that
Yeah,
shit. So yeah,
Yeah.
for
yeah,
sure.
they didn't investigate me from what I saw though,
Mhm.
and
That's good.
I am a paranoid person, so I was
Mhm.
looking for it.
Mhm.
Um, so if they were digging around in my trash, they were quiet about it, so I thanked them
Mhm.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you a part of any
Did
other activism?
I gotta ask while we're still on
Oh,
Scientology, did they ever find Shelley Miscavige? Is she still disappeared?
I think they did. So I think they got her to like I think LAPD said they found her or something like that.
Okay.
But it's Scientology gives LAPD $1 million a year.
Mm.
Jesus
And
Christ.
yeah, and they like help them other ways too. Like they
Mhm.
have cameras like on top of that big building there in
Mhm.
Hollywood, and they can see like a mile in any direction, and they give them footage from that. So it's not like, LAPD reporting that Shelley's fine, you
Right.
know.
Doesn't mean much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, are you saying you don't trust the police? Is
No,
is that what you're saying?
not not really. Not really. You know who I
40%.
like? You know what the cop I like is I like that Capitol riot cop. That's the cop I like. They say all cops are bad. He's okay. He's the only one.
Mhm.
He's just
Was it?
talking shit about Trump all day long. That's all he
Oh yeah.
does.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
You know
really?
what I'm talking
Okay.
about?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. I know what
He
you're talking
almost
about.
died on January
Mhm.
6th.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
the cops there on January
Mhm.
6th.
Hmm.
He's like, I got no use for these fucking MAGA fucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like his whole life now. I'm
Good.
like, all right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right.
He's been rehabilitated.
Yeah, he's rehabilitated.
Hmm. Well,
And
welcome, whoever you are.
I don't think he's a cop anymore though.
Yeah, I would
Yeah, that's
imagine he
that story's
probably
all
no
right.
longer. Right.
The only
That's what
good
it
cop is an
is.
ex-cop.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
That's what
especially
I'm
since
saying.
Trump has nationalized the DC police now anyway, so
Did
I'm
that
sure
go
he's
Yeah,
through, or
definitely
is he
not
still
one.
just trying?
I don't know. I'll
I
have
don't think it
to,
actually happened, did it? I
I,
don't know.
I
Who
thought it
fucking
not
did.
yet.
knows?
I mean, he called in the DC National Guard, so
Yeah,
they're
of course
already
he
on the
did.
streets because he directly controls them because there is no governor of DC.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, so you were asking if I was involved in any other activism. I kind of
Mhm.
was a little bit. Right when Trump was elected the first time,
Mhm.
and we had organized protests here in our town here, and it was really easy to get attention and stuff, and it was like almost accidental. Like I'd go to work and I'd like see myself on the front page of the newspaper.
Oh shit.
Nice.
I was like working at a hotel overnights. I'd be like on the Sunday paper. I'm like, holy shit! And because it's a like Northwest Arkansas is a small place, but it's like a moneyed place.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
it's really easy to like make national headlines here.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so there was other stuff that we were doing too, like people were holding like supremacist meetings in
Oh
a in
fuck.
a re- in a restaurant, and somebody just sent me the pictures, and I just posted them from like it was like Facebook at the time,
Hmm.
and it became like this national news story, and like people picked
Oh.
up on it, and it was almost like um and that wasn't even like activism. It was just like somebody. It was like felt like a duty. You know what I mean?
Hmm. For
And
sure.
there was just stuff like that would happen. Just like existing here, like would like turn me into an activist.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it wasn't even on purpose. Just existing will make you an activist here.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, for me, it seems pretty easy to be radicalized in this environment. I mean,
Hmm.
I got radicalized when I was like 16, so but
Yeah.
even some normies and
Yeah.
shit libs are
What got you guys?
Well, I used to be when even Jabber, even when you were radicalizing, we were roommates. Like I was very staunchly apolitical. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I just want to drink, go watch some good punk music, and get laid, and like that was just like that was
I
that
still
was
wish it could be like that. I still, you know what I mean? Like,
that's kind of like
I wish.
that was my operating speed, and I was like nominally like on the left, I guess, because I was like I considered myself an ally to the LGBTQI. I was just like, look, whatever
Right.
people want, I don't give a shit, man. Go do your thing. Like, so like I definitely wasn't leaning right by any stretch of the imagination, but I still just didn't. Nothing affected me. I'm a cisgender white straight man. Like, I
Right.
mean, there wasn't a lot that really affected me directly,
I
and I
mean,
didn't
you are a
really.
ginger.
I am a ginger, so I guess
Yeah.
I got that.
I was always pretty anti-racist and like pretty
Mhm.
like anti-homophobic and stuff. But
Hmm.
for me, it was just reading. When I read Howard Zinn, when I was like 19, it
Hmm.
was it gave me a new way to think
Hmm.
about things. And it made me understand that the way that history is done is political a lot of the time, and that it kind of depends on who's doing history.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah, for sure.
is what you're gonna get. And uh it really, I think, opened my mind up to the way that the world really is. I think
Hmm.
that book radicalized me more than anything.
Bad Religion um got me interested in politics because I was listening to fucking Epitaph Punk and shit, and Bad Religion was like no effects only with this is before I knew much about it. It was like no effects only with good politics. And
Bad Religion are great. Bad Religion
yeah,
are
yeah.
wonderful.
I love
Yeah.
them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Even still. And, so, I would listen to Bad Religion and have a dictionary and thesaurus next to me, learning some new big words. And I got into Dead Kennedys, and, they're even a little
Hmm.
bit more political. And then I met my friend Justin, who was into like crustier stuff, anarcho stuff. And he played Crass for me, and I was like, holy shit. And that's when I
Hmm.
got like a lot more interested in the political side of punk. Um, And I was vaguely leftist, not with really any theory behind it. Just, capitalism sucks. It's not
Yeah.
working. And then, during the Obama years, I felt, uh, I got duped really bad by Obama.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
when he didn't include, a public option for Obamacare,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of it for me. And, started learning more about socialism and the actual theory behind anarchism, and it just made so much more sense. And that's when I got more serious about my politics rather than just vaguely left while listening to punk rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to like to watch Fox News at that time
Hmm.
because they would talk about like so I was like already like kind of a leftist and like I was a leftist and so I knew who Bill Ayers was. He was in the
Oh
Weather
yeah, yeah.
Underground and they
Uh-huh.
like
Mm-hmm.
were blowing off bombs and shit in the
Oh,
60s
for
and
sure.
70s and he's like a college professor now
Hmm.
and and they were like a a guerrilla group in the United States that were like setting off fucking bombs and now he's a
Yeah.
professor and he was like Obama's mentor and Fox News were doing all these like crazy like scare tactic videos like about how Obama's like this secret communist that's been groomed by Bill Ayers and I was like whoa this guy sounds fucking
Wow.
so rad.
I'm voting for
Uh-huh.
him.
Yeah.
I'm getting a boner like
Yeah.
listening to Fox News
Yeah.
talk about how Obama has been radicalized by Bill Ayers. I'm like, is that really what we're gonna get? That's
Yeah.
awesome. I
Yeah.
can't believe it.
I remember that shit too. I watched a
Mhm.
documentary about the Weather Underground in like 2003 or something and was
Yeah.
like, see, fuck the hippies. Like this is the
Mhm.
shit that actually made a difference. Fucking hippies standing around like talking about peace and love and smoking fucking
Well,
weed and not doing a goddamn thing
you know who those
to
hippies
do
are now?
shit. Well, yeah,
Yeah, they're,
they're the boot on our
they're the
throat.
fucking they're the fucking MAGA
Yeah.
conservatives. Like that's who they are now. So
I like Andy I'm sorry, Abby Hoffman
Fuck
mhm.
yeah.
from the Yippie movement, right?
Hmm. Yeah, for
So
sure.
his whole idea was that protest was fucking just pretty shitty in the early 60s because they were showing pictures of like dead kids on signs and stuff in public.
Mhm.
And he's like, nobody wants to join in that fucking protest, right? And,
Right.
and he's like, nobody, the people are going to turn their heads away. They're not even going to pay attention to the war if that's what you're giving them.
Mhm.
So he's like, protest needs to be fun and
Mhm.
like, and it needs to make a point. And so he would do things like humiliate the capitalist class by going to Wall Street and they would go dump money off of like like the stock exchange and it'd be like $1 bills or whatever and they would make it rain and there'd be these guys in fucking suits climbing over each other and it's like in Time magazine and where they're like fighting over dollar bills and Abby Hoffman standing up there fucking dropping money down
Hmm.
and he just had this idea that protest should be theatrical for it
Yeah.
to be effective
Mhm.
and I really think that's really fucking powerful.
Hmm. I agree. I've
Yeah.
always thought that um I call it like silly terrorism. It's not damaging anyone or
Right.
hurting anyone,
No
but
one's
it's
getting
still
physically injured. Yeah.
terrorizing power structures with
Mhm.
silliness.
Mhm.
And pointing out how much of a farce it is. That's why I loved Killed in the Face so much. Our friend's band, that one dressed up as a safety cone, the other dressed up as a gorilla, and one played a snare drum, and the other played a trombone, and they used to bust into frat parties and just play some songs and then leave. It was
Mhm.
utter silliness and wonderful,
Yeah.
and they didn't have a real message, but working that type of behavior into activist movement, which they
Mhm.
also did, I think is brilliant because it puts eyes on you, it doesn't scare people away, and it shows the ridiculousness of the power structures in this country. I learned about Michael Parenti from Choking Victim and went and listened to a bunch of his speeches after hearing the samples they used on that record. He's really good. socialist speaker.
You got to
What are you
ask.
guys listening to?
So I'm really into this like screamo crust band from
Mm,
LA called Lagrimas.
Yeah.
They're so good. And there's another band. They have a split with them from Mexico City. They're called Habak.
mhm.
That's really good. Um, and then just mostly anarcho stuff. There's old
Yeah.
anarcho punk.
I am listening to a lot of hip hop right now. I actually went and saw Talib Kweli last night.
Oh,
So
nice.
if you remember him, he was half of Black Star back in the 90s and then
Hmm.
went solo in the early 2000s. There was not a huge turnout for him, which I was disappointed in.
That
My wife pointed
sucks.
out that she was like, "Yeah, he's old," and I'm like, "No, he's not old. No, no, he should be filling up an arena. Why isn't? Where is
Yeah.
everybody?" So, um, but yeah, I've been listening to of course, my MF Doom and some newer stuff. Danny Brown. I don't know if you know him, Detroit rapper.
Nah.
Um, yeah, rappers go by their real
So
names now.
yeah, I've been listening to this band from San Diego from the late '70s called the Zeros. I listened to them when I was a kid, but
Mhm.
I just started listening. I've just been, they've come back around in the cycle kind of a thing.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And so like
Nice.
that's my thing right now is them. And people used to like refer to them as the Mexican Ramones, but
Oh, nice.
they don't sound
Okay.
like the Ramones at all.
Oh,
Like it
okay.
was I think it was just like in the late '70s, nobody knew,
Yeah, yeah.
like
Hmm.
nobody knew what to make of them. But like their oldest brother was in the Nuns, and he's Alejandro Escovedo. I don't know if
Hmm.
you're familiar with him,
Mm-mm.
but I think he played like at the Obama inauguration or something like
Oh,
that.
for real?
Mm.
Huh.
And then yeah, like their cousin is Sheila E.
Oh,
Oh
And
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
yeah, so like they have like this big musical family, but they're
Hmm.
like this fucking great punk rock band from the late '70s, and they're still
Nice.
around.
We have posited there are three types of punk rockers in the world. Blatz punks, filth punks, and fucking posers. So
Oh,
which
poser. Fuck,
which,
that's
which
what I am.
We're all posers.
we're all
But
posers, yeah.
yeah.
So which side of this shit split do you prefer, Blatz or filth?
Oh, Bloods.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
same.
That's for
Yeah,
sure.
I love Blatz.
Although
Yeah.
I did
Filth
listen
is great,
to
but
I listened to the entire because I hadn't listened to the entire thing in a while. I re-listened to the entire shit split the other day.
mhm.
Um because it is available on YouTube because of course it is.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, the Phil side I liked it a lot better than I remember liking it.
yeah, yeah.
I was like,
No,
fuck,
it
this is
holds
really
up really
good
well.
actually.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
still prefer the Blatt side
yeah.
for
It's so
a
much
variety
fun.
of reasons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So on that kind of related note, I don't know really. Op Ivy might be doing something again. It sounds
No, come
like maybe.
on.
I don't
Who
know.
said?
Well,
Uh, I don't know. I swear I saw something about those dudes getting together. I don't know if they're going to be called Op Ivy anymore, but
hmm.
I swear I saw something. Let's look.
Did you
I'm
see it
looking it
on
up.
Well,
see it
Tim
on
and
Facebook
Jesse
with the
have a band that's called like they had a single come out like a couple years ago. I forget what it's
Hmm.
called, but you guys remember that? Like Tim and Jesse have a whole like they have two songs out.
I don't remember
Um,
that. Mm-mm.
yeah, it came out like 2 years ago, and it sounds like Operation Ivy, just kind of
Yeah.
cleaner and
Huh.
everything
I don't know.
else. And
Maybe it was just a weird dream I had. I don't know. I'm not finding anything about
Was it on Facebook and was there a bad AI poster associated with it?
it. No,
That's
and
where you saw
it wasn't the hard
next to
times.
Titanic 2
Right.
or
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I'm gonna
Jack's
find that
back.
right now. I want to find that right now. You really don't remember the Tim and
No.
Jesse
Mm-mm.
But
Doom
Pinhead.
Patrol? Is it Doom Patrol?
Huh.
Doom Regulator. They're
Yeah.
called Doom Regulator.
Up.
Doom Patrol.
Dum-
Uh, Freaking comic books over here.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like, yeah, that's a DC comic, right?
it's- that's what my brain is full of. All right, so
Did you like the new
comic books and
Superman?
fucking. I loved it. I
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
Superman fanatic when I was a
Uh-huh.
kid. I was such a fucking nerd. I used to make Superman scrapbooks. I used to like find pictures of because Dean Cain was in Superman. Like there was a Superman cartoon, so I could. So,
Uh-huh.
I'm very disappointed in Dean Cain's
Yes.
recent
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
antics.
I
I mean,
saw your reel.
yeah, I've always known he was a fucking shithead, but he's
Yeah.
gonna get it extra bad because he was fucking Superman, and I liked him when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So um I used to make these like scrapbooks. Like I would get like a journal book and I would like cut out pictures of Superman from fucking TV Guide and
Mhm.
like have all my little Superman pictures together. And I thought I was
Nice.
gonna like those books when I was a 50-year-old man. I was gonna look at,
Uh,
my Superman fucking scrapbooks and shit. But yeah, the movie was
nice.
good.
I like
Yeah.
that.
I like
I'm
It's
that
not
a
a
about
good
fan
you.
of
movie.
Superman. I'm not a fan of Superman, and I thought it
No.
Yeah, it
was
was
fucking
great.
great.
Great movie,
Yeah.
and Jaber, I know you haven't seen this one yet. I actually really did like the new Fantastic Four, especially
Mm.
after my wife and I were like, we saw the new Fantastic Four, and we were like, let's watch the ones from the early 2000s and see if they hold
Mhm.
up. They do not. They
No,
No.
they're
do
bad.
not hold up.
Nope.
Wow.
The
Wow.
They're
last
all bad.
episode, I said Richard Donner. It wasn't Richard Donner. It was
Roger
Roger
Corman.
Corman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the early 90s one,
Uh-huh.
which
That's my favorite one. That's my
that
Yeah.
favorite one.
that one is the actually surprisingly the most comic book accurate of all the
Yeah.
Nice.
Fantastic Four movies. But
That's I didn't like the new one. I thought it was boring.
no, really,
Um,
Mhm.
I
I,
enjoyed it.
I
Low
love the
bar from the other
Fantastic
ones,
Four.
though.
Yeah, that's my favorite comic book team, and
Oh,
every
really?
Fantastic Four movie has just been a complete fucking nightmare.
I didn't
Yeah.
see the rebooted one that had the Reed Richards played by the 25-year-old actor and had Michael B. Jordan as the Human Torch, and I never saw that one.
Oh,
So
that's
that
Jessica Alba.
atrocity.
no, Jessica
Just
Alba
a,
was the one before that.
Oh, jeez.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
she was so hot in that role. I mean, I'm sorry, but she was fucking
I mean,
smoking hot in
Jessica
that
Alba,
movie.
well, in
I
Rise of
remember
Silver
Idle
Surfer,
Hands.
they gave her the weirdest, most horrible blonde wig and the creepiest blue contacts. I'm like,
Yeah, that was weird.
she looked weird, and I'm like, she's
Yeah.
so beautiful and just looked so weird with that horrible wig.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's fine. I can take a brunette, brown-eyed Sue Storm. I don't give a shit. Just don't
The
make her
blue
look
eyes were
weird.
fucking weird. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the blue eyes were a little fucking much.
Right. Yeah,
But I
Kate
grew up in
Mara
Norwalk.
played her.
I like a blonde Latina. That's what I
Oh,
like.
okay.
Where I grew up. That's a thing I grew up looking at. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's that's what I married.
Kate Mara played her in the next iteration.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that existed. That's fucking
Yeah,
wild.
came out in
There's a
2015.
Horrible.
the
It was
fuck?
it was a rebooted because Rise of Silver Surfer did so bad that they wanted to reboot it, and they were going to make a second movie based on that series, but since it got like a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes or something like, and just bombed, box office bombed. They canceled the sequel, but and I don't know, I don't think they would have given this movie to him, but there was a director, a relatively famous director who had contacted Fox begging to direct the second one in that series, and that man was Tommy Wiseau. So somewhere there's in some universe somewhere there's an Earth that has a Fantastic Four sequel directed by Tommy Wiseau, and I want to see that fucking movie so
Doc
fucking bad.
Doctor Doom is like an incel in that movie in the 2015 one. Like
I never
he's like
saw
an
it.
incel that's like on the internet all the time.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Oh
like
wow.
that's it was just really bad. It was a terrible movie.
Well, they made him a
It sounds
CEO
wretched.
in the early 2000s one, the first time they actually tried to make a Fantastic Four movie. They're like, Victor Von Doom is the CEO of Doom Corp, and you're like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
They just made him Norman Osborn, but in the Fantastic Four universe. It's like, I already saw Willem Dafoe in this role. I don't need to see it again. Now go back and watch those early 2000s Fantastic Fours again. They are
Yeah.
Are they
nearly,
available?
yeah, you can, yeah, they're on Disney
Are they on
Plus.
Tubi? Oh.
They're on Disney Plus. They're owned by
It should be on
everything
TV.
Marvel is owned by Disney now. Everything's on Disney.
Oh, I didn't know
Should be
they
on
would put
TV.
those train wrecks on there. Oh,
Yeah.
they would put them in the vault.
next to the Roger Corman one that they
Right.
don't want anyone seeing.
Roger Corman is one of my favorite filmmakers.
Oh yeah.
Sincerely. Yeah, he's made a lot of great movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Well, that
yeah.
Fantastic Four movie, that wasn't his fault. The budget was like $1 million for a superhero movie. And you're like, well,
Yeah.
of course it's gonna fucking look terrible. Like, it's a
That was
superhero movie.
around the time of Batman, right? So they saw Batman doing
That
well, so
was
they're like,
that was
here.
4 years after Batman.
Yeah, okay.
So like it should have
Well,
looked way better.
yeah, so that movie was because Fox needed to keep the rights.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they needed to make the movie, and then so they were like, who can we get to make this movie that knows how to make movies on the cheap?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And they kind of had the idea that they weren't going to release the movie, but they still
Oh
had
yeah.
to they were still going to make it, you know? And so they made the movie and they had Roger Corman do it for like really small budget,
Yeah.
and because it was and so it was just because he could make a movie like that on such a small budget, and that
Right.
they knew that they weren't going to release it. That's why they got him.
Well,
And
Hmm.
the movie that they ended up releasing in 2004, the first Fantastic Four movie that was marketed and put in theaters, they started developing that 6 months after they made the Roger Corman one. But it sat in development hell for almost a decade. So that movie was supposed to actually be made almost 10 years before it was actually made.
that piece of
That's
shit.
crazy.
Yeah, they took them 10 years to make that.
They've always fucked up the Silver Surfer too. The Silver Surfer has sucked in every movie I've seen.
It's that what a difficult character to put on the screen,
I
though. Like
know.
unless it's animated,
Yeah.
it's just he's never going to look right. And Doug Jones played him in the early 2000s. Doug Jones is great,
Yeah,
but
Dougie Jones is
Yeah.
awesome.
yeah.
It takes too long to like that's the so the silver they tried to make the Silver Surfer too sympathetic too quick in the new
Hmm.
movie.
Mm.
That was my problem with it. The Silver Surfer's supposed to seem like a sociopath for a very long time, and you're
Yes,
supposed
yeah.
to just get little glimpses
Hmm.
that there's a person there. You're not supposed to fall in love with the Silver Surfer like
Hmm.
that, you know. They're supposed to be just really fucking crazy, and
Yeah,
you're along for the ride.
right.
So
Yeah. Because the Silver
yeah,
Surfer in the comics, like, kind of fell into insanity over a long period of time. Like originally was trying to find worlds that were living but didn't have an intelligent population on them and stuff like that, and then just eventually
right.
just gave up on everything. And yeah, kind of over I forget how long a period. It's been a long time since I've read comics, but yeah, like I do remember that. Yeah, I don't remember how many comics it took for the Silver Surfer to learn empathy, but and then he got his own comic for a long time.
So Mike Allred, he was actually a Mormon too, but he's a writer artist. He did no, I don't think he wrote it, but he did a run on Silver Surfer where he did the artwork, and the Surfer is a very like cutesy type character, and he's
Hmm.
got a girlfriend and like an Earth girlfriend and stuff,
Hmm.
and she looks like something that Mike Allred would draw, like a '60s girl, and it's a great comic, but it's not really true to the Silver Surfer.
Hmm.
It's almost sort of like the panels are almost like a sitcom in places. Mike Allred, though, that's my favorite living comic artist.
Thank you for agreeing to come on and chatting with us. It's been great. Um, yeah, I think one of the things that non-punk rockers don't realize about punk rock is the strong sense of community and and a very almost universal story for punk rockers going through trauma and finding uh, a chosen family with friends and overcoming all their bullshit, hopefully. Hearing your stories reminded me a lot of some of the stuff that we went through, even here in Wichita, making it through and having good stories to tell.
Thank you so much for being on, Ryan. And yeah, love to have you on again at some point too.
Thanks for having me. I'll come back on
Yeah,
anytime.
And
awesome. Maybe we'll have you on a punk movie review.
Yeah,
be a guest
we
on
could
one
do
of
I'll go
those.
on
Repo
that.
Man.
Yeah.
If we do Repo Man, I'll go on in a heartbeat.
All right. Done. That is
All right.
on our list.
It is,
So
yeah,
All
for
right.
sure.
yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate your time and keep doing what you're doing
All
and
right.
watch for Ryan Love's podcast
Hmm.
and go follow him on Instagram, the real Ryan Love. His reels kick ass.
All right.
All right.
You guys have a good one.
All
Thanks,
right.
man. You too.
Later, man.
All right.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening tonight. And be sure to check out Ryan Love's stuff. I got it linked in the description. And please go to our website, www.prairiepunkpress.com. You can get all of our links there. And Gerbert, is there anything you want to plug?
Nope. My
Cool.
band is still practicing. I think we
Oh,
have
yeah.
3 songs done. I think our patrons, something like that, one of those words. Our patrons, Mr. Power, Chris, Johnny, Alec, and Adam. Thank you guys so much. You're the
Awesome.
bee's knees. I'm going to go to bed. Fuck Elon
Yeah.
Musk. Fuck Twitter.
Oh, and I am working on getting my new children's book illustrated. Once that happens, I will probably send out some free digital copies.
Rad.
Yeah. So look out for that. If you have any kids that are my kid's age, which is 4 or around there, and they're dealing with loss, then check
Mhm.
out my children's book because the art's supposed to be really, really good. It's being illustrated by a local tattoo artist, so should be
Nice.
really good art in there. Cool, but yeah,
Radical.
yeah. Everybody, thanks for listening, and
Thanks for
don't forget to
listening.
listen next time too. All right, bye.
Bye.